In October 1957, something small changed the world forever. It was no bigger than a beach ball, but it made the United States realize one terrifying truth. They were no longer ahead. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite in human history. It sent a simple radio signal back to Earth, a repetitive beep. But that sound echoed far beyond science. For the first time, a man-made object orbited the planet, and it did not belong to the United States. In public, Sputnik was presented as a scientific achievement, but behind closed doors, American leaders felt fear. The same rockets that placed a satellite in orbit could also deliver nuclear weapons across continents. If the Soviet Union could reach space, they could reach American cities. The sky no longer felt safe. The launch shocked the American public. Newspapers called it a technological defeat. Parents worried about the future of their children. Politicians asked hard questions. How did the United States fall behind? And how long had this gap existed? Sputnik was not just a satellite, it was a message. The response was immediate. America restructured its education system. More money went into science, engineering, and mathematics. Schools focused on producing scientists, not just soldiers. The government believed the next war would be won by knowledge. Sputnik forced the United States to act. The idea of space as a peaceful frontier disappeared. Space became a battlefield without weapons, a competition for prestige, influence, and survival. Every launch became a political statement, every failure a national embarrassment. The space race had begun. For the first time in history, humanity looked beyond the planet not as dreamers, but as rivals. The Cold War had reached orbit. And this was only the beginning. In the next episode, we will explore why space technology was never just about exploration, but about nuclear power and military dominance. When people think about space exploration, they imagine astronauts, stars, and scientific discovery. But during the Cold War, space meant something very different. It meant power, it meant fear, and most of all, it meant weapons. The space race was never just about reaching the stars. It was about who could strike first and survive. Long before satellites and astronauts, rockets were designed for one purpose: war. During World War II, Nazi Germany developed the V-2 rocket. It was the first long-range guided missile in history. The V-2 could travel faster than sound. There was no warning, no defense. London was hit without seeing the enemy. For military planners, this was the future. When the war ended, both the United States and the Soviet Union rushed to capture German rocket technology. But even more important than the machines were the scientists. Wernher von Braun and his team surrendered to the Americans. Their knowledge became the foundation of U.S. missile and space programs. The Soviet Union captured factories, documents, and engineers of its own. The Cold War arms race began not with bombs, but with blueprints. By the late 1940s, nuclear weapons had entered the picture. At first, atomic bombs were delivered by airplanes. They were slow, vulnerable. Missiles offered something terrifyingly better. They could cross oceans. They could not be stopped. They could strike in minutes. A rocket that could reach space could also deliver a nuclear warhead anywhere on Earth.
This is why Sputnik terrified the United States.
It wasn't just a satellite. It was proof that the Soviet Union possessed intercontinental ballistic missile technology. In military terms, Sputnik was a warning shot. The message was clear: if we can reach orbit, we can reach you. As both sides built more missiles, a new strategy emerged. It was called mutually assured destruction. The idea was simple and horrifying. If one side launched nuclear weapons, the other would respond. Both societies would be destroyed. Victory was impossible. Survival depended on restraint. Space technology made this balance possible and fragile. Satellites quickly became essential military tools. They were not weapons themselves, but they made weapons smarter. Satellites could monitor enemy missile sites, track troop movements, detect nuclear launches. For the first time, wars could be watched from above. Space became the ultimate high ground. Publicly, both superpowers spoke about peace and exploration. Privately, space programs were deeply connected to defense. NASA worked alongside the U.S. military. The Soviet space program was controlled by the state. Every successful launch strengthened confidence. Every failure caused political panic. Many early space rockets were modified missiles, painted white, given peaceful names, but their origins were unmistakable. The same engines, the same fuel, the same guidance systems. The difference was not technology, it was intention. In 1962, the world came closer to nuclear war than ever before. Missiles were placed in Cuba, submarines moved into position, bombers waited in the air. Space surveillance helped confirm the threat. Space technology did not cause the crisis, but it shaped how it was managed. From the beginning, space exploration carried a contradiction. It promised unity, but was built on rivalry. It symbolized hope, but relied on fear. By the early 1960s, both sides understood the danger. More rockets meant less safety. More power meant less control. Yet neither side could stop. To pause meant vulnerability. Space had become a trap. This realization changed everything. If space was about power, then the ultimate symbol of dominance would not be a weapon, it would be a destination, the moon. And soon, one man would make that challenge public. In the next episode, we will see how fear gave birth to an agency designed for peace, driven by competition. This was the birth of NASA. After Sputnik, the United States was no longer confident. For the first time since World War II, America questioned its future. The country that believed itself to be the world's technological leader had been publicly surpassed. And the question was no longer if America would respond, but how fast. In late 1957, Washington entered crisis mode. Military leaders feared vulnerability. Politicians feared embarrassment. Scientists feared being ignored again. The Soviet Union had proven that centralized planning could beat American industry, at least in space. For the United States, this was unacceptable. At the time, America had no unified space program. Different branches of the military were running their own rocket experiments. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force. They competed for funding. They guarded information. They failed publicly. Several U.S. rocket launches exploded on live television. Each failure deepened the sense of decline. President Dwight D. Eisenhower faced a difficult choice. He did not want space to become openly militarized, but he also understood the strategic threat. If the military controlled space, every launch would look like a weapon test. America needed something different, something civilian, something credible, something permanent. In July 1958, Congress passed the National Aeronautics and Space Act. On October 1, 1958, NASA officially opened its doors. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration absorbed earlier research agencies. Its mission was clear: peaceful exploration, scientific leadership, technological superiority. But beneath the language of peace was the reality of competition.
NASA was designed to do more than explore. It was meant to restore confidence. Every success would be public. Every achievement would be visible. Unlike secret missile tests, NASA's victories would be broadcast to the world. Space became a stage. America gathered talent at an unprecedented scale. Scientists, engineers, mathematicians. Many came from universities. Others came from the military. And some came from a darker past. Former German rocket scientists were quietly integrated into the program. Their expertise was invaluable, their history controversial. But the Cold War left little room for hesitation. Wernher von Braun became a central figure. Once a designer of weapons, he now spoke of exploration. He appeared on television. He explained rockets to the public. Von Braun helped turn spaceflight into a national dream. For America, he was both a symbol of progress and a reminder of uncomfortable compromises. NASA's early years were not glamorous. Tests failed, budgets were questioned, deadlines slipped. But unlike before, efforts were coordinated. Knowledge was shared. Mistakes were analyzed. For the first time, America was building a long-term space strategy. NASA's first human spaceflight project was called Mercury. Its goal was simple: send one man into space and bring him back alive. The challenge was enormous. No one knew how the human body would react to weightlessness. Every mission was experimental. Every astronaut was a test subject. NASA selected its first astronauts in 1959. They were pilots, military men, highly disciplined. They were also carefully presented to the public. Clean images, perfect families, calm confidence. Astronauts became symbols of stability in a nervous nation. Despite NASA's creation, the Soviet Union remained ahead. They had already sent the first satellite. They would soon send the first human. NASA was running, but still behind. Time mattered. Every delay increased political pressure. Every success carried enormous weight. The space race was not fought only with machines. It was fought with perception. Each launch told a story. Who was smarter? Who was stronger? Who was winning the future? NASA became America's answer not just to Sputnik, but to doubt itself. By the early 1960s, one conclusion was unavoidable. Matching Soviet achievements was not enough. America needed a goal so bold, so ambitious, that it would redefine the competition. And soon, that goal would be spoken aloud. In the next episode, a young president will make a promise that shocks his advisors and inspires a nation. A promise that sounds impossible. A promise that will change history. We choose to go to the moon.